Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to focus on our newest Resplendent hero, Marth. Again, such a coincidence that we got both him and Sita back to back, sandwiching the news of the localization of Shadow Dragon. That's good marketing. Anyway, this shouldn't come as a huge surprise really. After all, Marth is the mascot of the Fire Emblem series. It was only a matter of time before he got a Resplendent, much like literally every other lord so far. Anyway, let's take a look at his kit and see how he holds up today. At 5 stars level 40, a neutral Marth has the following stats: HP 41, Attack 31, Speed 34, Defense 29, and Resistance 23. Now, it goes without saying that his stat spread doesn't really hold up well today. His attack is low, his speed is somewhat middling, and his bulk could use some improvements. With a Resplendent skin, he gains an additional +2 points to all stats, which I do believe he needs. I wouldn't say that it goes as far as saving him as a unit, especially since most Marths that I run into tend to sit back and play a more support-oriented role, but the extra stats are always appreciated nonetheless. Now, do keep in mind that Marth is available as a 3-star and 4-star unit, meaning that getting him to +10 can turn out to be incredibly easy. At max merges, his Resplendent stats come up to HP 48, Attack 38, Speed 41, Defense 35, and Resistance 29. Depending on which modes he's used in, he might be a decent unit to run some HP-based skills like Sudden Panic or Infantry Pulse on account of his modest HP. 38 attack and 41 speed also put him on par with some of the book 3 and 4 units, and his bulk definitely becomes more workable at this point. Also note that Marth does not have any super boons, so your choice of boon is likely dependent on what role he plays in your team. Speaking of which, let's take a look at his weapon, Falchion, as it'll likely help influence that decision. This sword has 16 might and, like every other iteration of Falchion, has a natural effectiveness over dragon foes. At the start of odd number turns, this weapon restores 10 HP. Not terrible. That's basically renewal, I believe. Once upgraded, however, it also grants +2 attack, speed, defense, and resistance to any allies within 2 spaces during combat. It's important to point out that Marth himself does not benefit from this effect, which is why he is so frequently locked into a support role. What's unfortunate about this effect too is that though the buffs are applied in combat, +2 to all stats feels like such a meager amount. It's welcome, sure, but it feels so dated and underwhelming, especially for what this franchise considers its mascot hero. Still, let's jump over to our actual unit build section and check out what we can do with him. So this is probably my favorite build that I've come up with for Resplendent Marth, as it grants him quite a bit of flexibility and allows him to function as both a support unit and a surprisingly good dragon counter. We're keeping Falchion in his weapon slot, and in his assist and B slot, you'll notice that I plugged in a rally skill as well as a ruse skill. Rally skills are of course nice for support units as they obviously grant +6 to an ally's 2 stats, and when paired with a ruse skill can debuff foes within cardinal directions and inflict guard, making it harder for them to activate their specials. They're an easy way for squishier units to be able to offer support from afar. I chose this particular combination of rally ruse skills because they can both be found on Apotheosis Ana. Speaking of which, you know what other skills Ana comes with that we're using in our build? Her C skill. Joint Drive Speed is a fantastic skill that many of you should be familiar with by now. The skill grants Marth and any nearby allies +4 speed in combat, so long as they are within 2 spaces of each other. Joint Drive Attack also works, but if you've already got a rally skill from another unit, you could easily nab both her ruse skill and Joint Drive Speed from just one Ana. Moving on, in our A slot, I decided to plug in Attack Speed Push 4. We've been getting this skill on a lot of units lately, and it's a great one that grants our unit +7 attack and speed on both phases, so long as our HP is above 25%. This skill does, however, chip our health down by 5 points after combat if our unit attacked, but because Falchion restores 10 HP at the start of every turn, this is a pretty easy condition to work around. Fury 4 is also a great option for this same reason, but I do have a preference for the push skills, as Marth does have the potential to dish out some damage and outspeed some enemies when at max merges. In our S slot, I decided to plug in a Kestrel Stance 2. We finally have it as a seal, as it's one of the 2 sacred seals we got from this month's Tempest Trial event, which is pretty nice. With it, Marth gains +4 attack and speed on the enemy phase. Not bad. And lastly, we've got our special, which is probably the most flexible. I know some people really love Marth, and so I figured that since he's already got a dragon slaying weapon, Ruptured Sky could be a fun choice, especially if you manage to nab both it and Fury 4 from a female Byleth. Of course, other skills like Glimmer and Moonbow work too, depending on how much more support-oriented your Marth is. And that's pretty much it for this build. Lots of good support, I think. If you decide to build your Marth up more offensively, Spurn or Repel could be another great option for him if you're willing to focus on his speed. Giving him a speed boon might actually be a really good choice for him if you decide to go down this route. Again, because of his weapon, he does tend to prefer to play support, but should you decide to part ways with his sword, he's got some solid options. The Carrot Cudgel from Spring Bartre, the Pledge Blade from Bridal Aboro, the Melee Bouquet from Valentine's Conrad, or even the new sword we got in that new ninja banner thanks to Zhark. Ooh, that could actually be a lot of fun. The Ninja Katana is a great sword for Marth, and it could also work with the build that we've got here. I would just swap Kestrel Stance with Swift Sparrow, and boom, you've got a player-faced beast here. That could be a lot of fun too. Anyway, here are what Marth's stats look like at max merges. Because he is a Book 1 infantry unit, he does have access to up to 15 Dragonflowers, which totals out to +3 to all stats, all of which are certainly welcome. Like I said, I know some people really love Marth, so it's nice to know that even though his stats are a little dated, and his weapon refine hasn't aged all that well, his stats can be salvaged, and there are tons of great inheritable swords that we've gotten over the past year that can all be great options for him. Alright, and that is it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you appreciate the content, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and or subscribing to the channel. And as a reminder, I do also stream on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. We play rival domain matches on FEH on weekends, but I also play other games on weekdays like Mario Sunshine, 3 Houses, Genshin Impact, and a few others. Drop by if you get a chance. Anyway, thanks again for watching, everyone, and let me know what you think of Marth's Resplendent alt. Until next time, happy saving, happy summoning, and take care. Goodbye. Like, my hair actually feels like ramen right now. Like, it is so dry and so stiff. I have no idea, like, how I'm gonna wash all of this off afterwards. Today we stan Rhea. I tried to apply some to my beard, but it just looks like moss.